Sunlight streams through the bay windows of my parents' formal dining room, catching on crystal glasses like tiny prisms. The familiar weight of tradition settles over me as I adjust the burgundy linen napkin on my lap, breathing in the rich aroma of Mom's pot roast. Dad stands at the head of the polished mahogany table, carving the meat with practiced precision, each slice falling perfectly onto the Wedgwood china he reserves for Sunday gatherings. "Just a small piece for me, Dad," I say, watching as he ignores my request and places a generous portion on my plate anyway. "You're too thin, Gabrielle," he says without looking up. "Always have been." I'm about to remind him that at 38, I'm perfectly capable of determining my own portion sizes when the front door bursts open. The peaceful tableau shatters as my sister Vanessa sweeps in with her husband Mark and their 3 children. Instantly, the dining room fills with noise, backpacks dropping, children arguing over seats, Mark's heavy footsteps. "Sorry we're late," Vanessa announces without a hint of actual remorse. Her eyes are bright with an unusual excitement that immediately puts me on edge. Traffic was terrible by the outlet mall. "You went shopping before Sunday dinner?" I ask, but my question drowns beneath Mom's enthusiastic greeting of her grandchildren. Dad catches Vanessa's eye and nods slightly, a silent exchange that tightens something in my chest. I recognize that look, the conspiratorial glance they've shared since we were kids, usually right before I discovered I was the only one not included in some family plan. "Well, we're all here now," Mom says, patting the table. "Charles, finish serving so we can eat while it's hot." We settle into the familiar rhythm of passing dishes and making small talk. Mom asks about my latest architectural project. Dad quizzes Mark about the stock market. The children intermittently whine about the vegetables on their plates. "So," Vanessa says suddenly, her voice rising above the dining room chatter, "we're moving into your Lakehouse next week. We've got some foundation issues with our place." My fork freezes halfway to my mouth. "What?" "It's just sitting empty anyway, Gabrielle," Dad says, his tone casual but his eyes watchful. "I get the blue bedroom," Vanessa's oldest son announces, bouncing in his chair. "No fair. Mom said I could have that one," his sister protests. Their argument fades to background noise as realization washes over me. The children have already picked out bedrooms. This wasn't a spontaneous announcement. This was planned, discussed, and decided before I ever sat down at this table. "Your Lakehouse has plenty of room," Mom adds, as if that settles everything, "and they won't be there forever." 6 years. 6 years I've spent restoring that lakeside property. $420,000 to purchase it, plus another $95,000 in critical repairs. I handled the flood damage alone 3 years ago while they were all cruising the Caribbean, spent weeks salvaging hardwood floors and replacing drywall. That house is more than property to me. It's the place I rebuilt myself after my divorce, where I learned to fall asleep without checking locks 3 times, where I finally started breathing again. "Family needs to help family," Vanessa says, her voice taking on the practiced cadence of a speech she's rehearsed. "We'd do the same for you." It would only be for 7 months, until the foundation work is complete," Dad adds. Mark studies his plate, uncomfortable silence speaking volumes about his involvement in this plan. I set my napkin down beside my plate, a quiet gesture that draws everyone's attention. Something shifts inside me, a clarity that feels both surprising and long overdue. "Gabrielle, you're always so particular about your things," Mom says, dismissing my unspoken objection with a wave of her hand. "This is what families do, Gabrielle," Dad adds, his tone sliding into the condescending one he reserves for when he believes someone is being unreasonable. "We help each other." Vanessa's lips curl into an entitled smile that grows as she watches me, sensing another victory in our lifelong pattern. She has always taken. I have always given. Our parents have always facilitated. Not this time. I reach for my handbag hanging on the chair beside me, extract a crisp manila folder, and place it on the table. "The contractors start Monday next week," I say, opening the folder to reveal renovation contracts and city permits, each page bearing my signature and dates from 3 months ago. It's a complete 9-month renovation. Everything down to the studs. Silence descends over the table, thick and sudden. Dad's knife hovers over the roast. Mom's water glass remains suspended halfway to her lips. Vanessa's smile collapses. I take a slow, deliberate sip of water, surprised by the calm in my hand as I raise the glass. The crystal catches the light, throwing tiny rainbows across the tablecloth, beautiful, sharp-edged prisms that no one else seems to notice. Silence chokes the dining room as I watch realization bloom across my family's faces. The manila folder with renovation contracts sits between us like a loaded gun. Dad's knife remains suspended above the roast, Mom's water glass frozen halfway to her lips. For once, Vanessa's practiced smile has shattered. "You can't be serious," Vanessa finally says, her voice climbing an octave. "We've already given notice at our apartment. Where are we supposed to go?" I take another sip of water, using the moment to catalog the long history of Vanessa's entitlement flashing through my mind. The time she borrowed my car for a weekend trip that stretched to 2 months. When she returned it, the cracked windshield was apparently already like that. The small loan of $3,000 that somehow ballooned to 18 grand, still unpaid 6 years later. The spare key to my apartment I discovered she'd had made without permission when I found her using my shower one day. "You'll have to find somewhere else," I say, my voice steadier than I expected. "The contractors start Monday." "Gabrielle." Dad sets down his carving knife, abandoning all pretense of continuing dinner. His corporate negotiator voice slides into place, the tone he reserves for difficult clients. "Be reasonable about this. Your sister has 3 children. And foundation issues," Mom adds, nodding vigorously. "You can't expect them to live in an unsafe house." "I don't," I reply. "I expect them to find their own housing solution that doesn't involve taking mine." Vanessa's eyes narrow as she exchanges a glance with Dad. I recognize their silent communication, the same look they shared when I was 16 and discovered they'd given away my college savings to fund Vanessa's wedding. The coordinated pressure campaign is so familiar I could script it. "But we've already started packing." Vanessa's voice shifts from demanding to desperate, right on cue. "The moving truck is scheduled for Monday morning." "This will break your father's heart," Mom whispers, reaching for Dad's hand in theatrical solidarity. My phone buzzes on my lap. A text from Miguel, my contractor. "All materials delivered. We're ready for Monday morning, 7 a.m. sharp." A notification follows. "Smart lock system active." Something warm unfurls in my chest. Not anger, not anxiety, confidence. While they were planning their ambush, I was preparing. The security company finished installation last week. The renovation permits are filed and approved. I've done everything by the book. What about storage for our furniture? Mark speaks for the first time, still studying his plate. "We could at least store things in the garage temporarily." "The garage is being converted to a home gym," I say. "Everything's coming down to the studs." "You'll regret putting renovation before family," Vanessa hisses, tears welling on command. I've seen this performance before, at family holidays, birthdays, anytime she doesn't get her way. The tears that appear and vanish with suspicious precision. Dad leans forward, voice lowered. "Gabrielle, this situation could impact certain decisions about the future. The inheritance threat, right on schedule. What about the children?" Mom's voice rises with practiced distress. "They'll be homeless." I fold the napkin on my lap precisely, each crease deliberate. The weight of their expectations, their lifetime of demands disguised as family obligation, presses against my shoulders. But it no longer crushes me. "Poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine," I say, meeting Dad's gaze directly. Recognition flashes across his face. His own words, the business mantra he's repeated for decades to clients who failed to prepare properly, turned back on him. I stand, collecting my purse and the manila folder. "I've respected my contractual obligations. You should respect my boundaries." "Sit down, Gabrielle." Dad's voice hardens. "We're not finished discussing this." "I am." Vanessa's oldest son looks up from his plate, bewildered by the tension. "But I already told my friends about my new Lakehouse bedroom." "It's not your bedroom," I say gently, "and it's not your Lakehouse." I walk toward the door, footsteps echoing on hardwood. The family scrambles behind me, a chorus of protests and demands. I don't turn around. The front door closes behind me with a soft click that feels more decisive than a slam. Outside, the autumn air fills my lungs. I walk to my car, ignoring the dining room curtain twitching as Mom watches me leave. My phone lights up with Dad's number before I've even backed out of the driveway. 12 missed calls by the time I reach the highway. Only when I'm alone on the interstate, 20 miles between us, do my hands begin to shake against the steering wheel. The adrenaline crash hits hard, trembling fingers, shallow breaths. But beneath the physical reaction, my resolve remains steady. I pull into a rest stop, dial Miguel's number. Make sure the security system is fully operational by tomorrow morning. I tell him when he answers. And could you move the dumpsters directly in front of the garage doors? I'm concerned about unauthorized access. Already planned on it, he replies, and I can hear the smile in his voice. After what happened with the flood damage repairs, I figured your family might try something. I grip the phone tighter. He remembers. Someone remembers how I handled the emergency repairs alone 3 years ago, when the family was too busy cruising the Caribbean to help. The locks are changed, Miguel continues, and we've got cameras at all entry points. The shaking in my hands subsides. I'm not alone in this. Thank you, I say. I'll see you on Monday morning. As I end the call, a text from Vanessa appears. Dad's furious. Fix this now. I switch my phone to silent and set it on the passenger seat. The evening sky deepens to indigo above the highway as I pull back onto the road, heading home. Not to the Lakehouse. That's becoming something else now. Something entirely mine. But to the apartment where I've learned to sleep through the night without checking the locks 3 times. Tomorrow, they'll escalate. I know this with absolute certainty. But for the first time in our shared history, I'm prepared. Monday morning of the next week arrives with the rumble of an engine that doesn't belong. I pause at my kitchen window, coffee mug suspended halfway to my lips, watching a moving truck lumbering up my lakeside property's narrow gravel drive. The burgundy logo on its side matches the color of Vanessa's lipstick at that awful Sunday dinner. My phone vibrates against the counter. 5th call from Dad since dawn. I silence it without looking, gathering the folder of permits I'd shown the family on that Sunday dinner. The weight of it in my hands feels different now, substantial, like armor rather than paper. By the time I arrive at the Lakehouse, Ray and his construction crew have already established a perimeter of orange safety cones. Sawhorses block the driveway entrance, forcing the moving truck to idle at the road. I park behind Ray's pickup and step out into crisp autumn air that carries the scent of pine and chainsaw exhaust. Miss Morgan, Ray nods, clipboard in hand, flanked by 6 workers in hard hats. We've got the demolition permits posted as required. Interior stripping begins in 30 minutes. Thank you. I scan the property. I see we have unexpected visitors. Ray's weathered face remains professional. They arrived about 10 minutes ago, claimed they had your permission to move in today. The moving truck's door swings open. Vanessa emerges, designer sunglasses pushed atop her head, face flushed with color that deepens when she spots me. What the hell is going on? She stalks toward me, pointing at the construction equipment. These men won't let our movers through. I meet her halfway, maintaining enough distance that her voice must carry across the yard. The security guard I hired stands attentively near Ray, his presence a calm reassurance. As I explained to you on Sunday last week, the renovation begins today. I hold up the permits. The property isn't habitable during construction. You can't be serious. Vanessa's voice rises, drawing stares from the workers. We've already given notice at our place. Where are we supposed to go? I withdraw an envelope from my bag. This might help. It's a 6-month contract for a storage unit, already paid in full. Fine. She stares at the envelope but doesn't take it. Storage? We need somewhere to live, not somewhere to store our stuff. Your housing isn't my responsibility, Vanessa. The words come easier than I expected. Your foundation issues didn't materialize overnight. You've had time to make arrangements. Her eyes narrow, searching my face for weakness. Finding none, she turns toward the house. I still have a key. We'll work around your little project. That won't work. I follow at a measured pace as she strides toward the front door. Vanessa jams her key into the lock. Nothing happens. She tries again, twisting harder. Welcome to Secure Home Systems, announces a robotic voice from the small speaker beside the door. Unauthorized entry attempt detected at main entrance, alerting property owner and security service. My phone chimes with the alert notification. Vanessa whirls to face me. You changed the locks? Last week. I nod toward the security cameras mounted discreetly at the roofline. The police have been notified about potential trespassing. Standard security protocol. Something breaks in her expression, the polished veneer cracking to reveal raw entitlement beneath. You can't do this to us. We're family. Family respects boundaries, I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. My phone rings. The security company, right on schedule. I answer briefly, confirming the alert was triggered by my sister, not an actual intruder. When I hang up, Vanessa has retreated to the moving truck. Through the windshield, I can see her gesturing wildly to Mark, who sits slumped in the passenger seat. Ray approaches, hard hat in hand. "We're ready to begin when you are, Miss Morgan." "Let's proceed." I sign his clipboard. "The interior timeline is tight. I'd like the master bedroom suite demolished by Thursday." "We'll make it happen." He hesitates. "Your sister seems determined. Should we expect interference?" Before I can answer, the moving truck engine roars to life. Instead of turning around, it lurches forward, bypassing the sawhorses by veering onto the lawn. It stops 20 feet from us, tires crushing ornamental grasses I'd planted last spring. The movers jump out, lowering the ramp at Ray's command, and begin unloading furniture. Vanessa emerges from the truck's cab, triumphant smile fixed on her face. "Since you won't be reasonable," she calls, "we'll just have to store things here temporarily. The yard will work fine until you come to your senses." The first piece, an ornate mahogany dresser that once belonged to our grandmother, thuds onto my lawn. Mark follows behind the movers, looking miserable but compliant. I don't move. Instead, I reach for my phone and dial a number saved yesterday. Lakeside Auction House? Yes, this is Gabrielle Morgan. I maintain eye contact with Vanessa as I speak. "Yes, please proceed with pickup as discussed. Donate all proceeds to the foster youth program." Vanessa freezes, confusion replacing triumph. "They'll be here within the hour," I confirm, ending the call. "What auction house?" Vanessa demands. "The one I contacted yesterday, after dinner." I gesture toward the furniture accumulating on my lawn. I anticipated this move. Ray clears his throat. "Miss Morgan, we need to begin demolition. Should we work around the furniture situation?" "No need." I hand him the final authorization forms. Everything on the property not secured inside storage sheds is being removed today. The rest of the day unfolds according to plan. Construction begins while furniture piles grow on my lawn. Vanessa alternates between threats and tears. Mark eventually convinces her to leave, promising they'll return tomorrow to fix this misunderstanding. 2 days later, on Wednesday, I receive the call I've been expecting. I'm standing in what was once the master bedroom, as workers remove the last of the drywall, revealing bare studs beneath. "You heartless bitch!" Vanessa's voice explodes through my phone. "The auction truck took everything. That was heirloom furniture." I step outside to hear better over the construction noise. "Then it should never have been dumped on property you don't own." Her scream resonates through the phone, but something has changed inside me. The calm I feel isn't forced, it's become my natural state. The boundary I've established feels right, necessary. I've kept all the documentation. I tell her when her tirade subsides. Photos of furniture abandoned on private property. Security footage of attempted unauthorized entry. The police report about trespassing warnings. The silence on her end speaks volumes. I've instructed the property management company about authorized visitors. I continue. You're welcome to schedule an appointment to see the renovation progress, with advance notice. Mom and Dad are coming to talk sense into you, she finally says, voice brittle with fury. I check my watch, then glance at the construction foreman who gives me a thumbs up. Perfect timing. Let them see exactly what they can't take from me. As I hang up, workers begin dismantling what would have been Vanessa's claimed master suite. The sledgehammer crashes through the remaining wall, sunlight suddenly flooding the space through the newly exposed frame. For the first time in years, I can breathe deeply here. The air smells of sawdust and possibility instead of obligation. The security system chimes, alerting me to vehicles approaching the property. I step onto the porch, building plans in hand, watching my parents' car roll to a stop beside the construction equipment. The demolition of the master bedroom walls concludes with perfect dramatic timing. I stand framed in sunlight streaming through bare wooden beams, ready to greet them on my terms. I straighten my hard hat and adjust the protective goggles, a smile playing at the corners of my mouth. Miss Morgan, where do you want the drywall stacked? Calls Rico, the site foreman. Along the east wall, I answer, pointing toward what used to be my grandmother's antique sideboard. Make sure it's covered if it looks like rain. Dad and Mom emerge from the car like cautious explorers stepping onto alien terrain. Dad's face hardens as he takes in the construction equipment scattered across what was once a manicured lawn. Mom's hand flies to her mouth as her eyes scan the property. What have you done? Dad's voice carries across the yard, competitive with the circular saw screaming through lumber nearby. I walk toward them with measured steps, work boots crunching on gravel. I told you, 9-month renovation, everything down to the studs. They follow me through the front door, and their footsteps falter at the threshold of what once was the living room. Exposed beams, gutted fireplace. Subfloor revealed where polished hardwood once gleamed. This is insanity, Mom whispers, her voice barely audible over the contractor's radio playing classic rock. You've destroyed it. Ah. I'm rebuilding it, I correct her. My vision, my timeline. Dad surveys the gutted space, his businessman's eyes calculating. Gabrielle, this is excessive. Stop this now and we can still make arrangements for Vanessa's family. I laugh, the sound bouncing off exposed studs. That's not happening. His face darkens with a familiar storm. You've never understood family obligation. I can cut you out of the will entirely. The threat hangs in the air. 6 months ago, it would have wounded me, sent me scrambling to appease him. Now, I just nod. You already did, I say calmly, when I refused to co-sign Mark's failed real estate deal last year. Mom gasps. Dad's face drains of color. Vanessa mentioned it during one of her attempts to get money for their down payment. I explain, picking up a set of blueprints from a makeshift table. Said you'd already rewritten the will to protect family assets. Her words, not mine. Mom's eyes fill with tears, the manipulative kind that once would have unraveled my resolve. Gabrielle, please, think of the children. I am, I reply, turning toward Rico. How's the children's reading nook coming along? The built-ins are framed, he answers, nodding toward the far corner. Should look just like your designs. I watch my mother's confusion bloom on her face. For the foster youth program, I explain. The same one that received the $12,000 from the furniture auction. Dad's eyes narrow. Vanessa said you sold family heirlooms. Furniture left on property that wasn't hers, I correct him. The auction house documented everything. Very public process. Mom clutches Dad's arm. Charles, she's made us look terrible. People are talking. I pull out my phone, opening social media to show them Vanessa's deleted posts about her homeless family and the subsequent community response praising my donation. Public shaming doesn't work when people know the truth, I say, returning the phone to my pocket. Dad straightens his shoulders, shifting to negotiation mode. Let's discuss options then. Perhaps we can reach a compromise. I note the change from demands to discussion. Progress, however small. The renovation continues as planned. I reply, gesturing toward a worker carefully removing old family photos from a wall scheduled for demolition tomorrow. But I'm willing to help Vanessa find alternative housing within her budget. Mom's tone shifts from entitled to cautiously respectful. That would be appreciated. My phone buzzes with notifications. Security company confirming no further unauthorized attempts since last week. Auction house sending official donation receipt for tax purposes. My contractor sharing progress photos of the back deck's transformation. As we stand amid the skeleton of my home, I notice Dad studying the blueprints with reluctant admiration. He recognizes good planning when he sees it. Have you ever had to reinvent a space to reclaim it? I ask them both. Sometimes you need to strip everything back to build something authentic. Before they can answer, my phone rings. Mark's name appears on the screen. Excuse me, I say, stepping away. I need to take this. I hear Mark's voice, quieter than usual. Gabrielle, I wanted to apologize for my role in all this. I should have spoken up. Outside the window, I see my parents walking back to their car, their posture less rigid than when they arrived. Sometimes the hardest foundations to pour are the ones that support our boundaries. I tell him. But they're the most important. Behind me, workers continue transforming my sanctuary. One nail, one beam, one boundary at a time. The formal dining room glows amber in evening light, casting long shadows across my parents' Persian rug. The table setting feels like déjà vu, same burgundy napkins, same crystal glasses catching light in prismatic bursts, same tension hanging in the air like a storm front. 3 months into my Lakehouse renovation, I accepted this dinner invitation knowing exactly what awaited me. Your mother made her special pot roast, Dad says, carving the meat with practiced precision. His voice carries the forced casualness of a man about to negotiate a difficult business deal. Just like you always liked. It smells wonderful, Mom. I smooth my napkin across my lap, noting the extra place settings. Are we expecting company? Mom and Dad exchange a glance that I recognize all too well, the silent communication that preceded countless childhood disappointments. We thought it would be nice to have a family dinner. Mom places a generous serving on my plate. It's been difficult with everyone, scattered. The doorbell chimes. Dad's shoulders relax slightly. Reinforcements have arrived. I'll get it, Mom says, patting Dad's arm as she passes. The moment she leaves, Dad leans forward. Gabrielle, I've been talking with the Hendersons. You remember John, my golf partner? He thinks what you're doing is rather harsh. I take a slow sip of water. I wasn't aware the Hendersons were stakeholders in my property. Community matters, Gabrielle. People talk. Yes, they certainly do. I set my glass down carefully. They talked when I handled the flood damage alone 3 years ago. Not a single offer of help then. Guess. Dad's reply is interrupted by voices from the foyer. Mom returns with Pastor Williams, our family's longtime spiritual advisor and, not coincidentally, someone whose opinion I've always respected. Gabrielle, so wonderful to see you. Pastor Williams takes the seat beside mine. Your mother tells me you've been quite busy with renovations. Transformative ones, I confirm, recognizing the setup. My parents have always excelled at creating the appearance of impartial juries. Mom serves Pastor Williams before resuming her own seat. We were just discussing family harmony, weren't we, Charles? Dad nods, cutting his meat with surgical precision, and how certain decisions might still be adjusted for the greater good. The children miss their aunt, Mom adds, her voice dropping to that particular register she reserves for emotional leverage. Family needs to stick together, especially in hard times. I notice my fingers have tightened around my fork. The old pattern unfolding exactly as expected, the united front, the implied moral failing, the quiet suggestion that I am the problem that needs fixing. Speaking of family, Dad continues. The Fosters had to help their daughter's family last year. Opened their home for 8 months during their renovation disaster. Barbara says it brought them closer. The pressure builds in careful increments. Each example, each implied comparison, the subtle reminder of what good families do. I reach for my handbag, retrieving my tablet. I'd like to show you something, I say, voice steady as I unlock the screen. Since we're discussing renovations. The first photo appears my Lakehouse with scaffolding embracing its exterior like a protective cage. I swipe to show the interior, gutted to the studs, workers visible in hard hats and protective gear. This was day 1. I explain, continuing to swipe through the chronological renovation journey, and this was last week. Pastor Williams leans forward, genuinely interested. My goodness, what a transformation! The latest photos reveal spaces unrecognizable from their former state. The 4-bedroom layout has become a modern 3-bedroom with a private office overlooking the water. Floor-to-ceiling windows now frame the lake view. Reclaimed oak beams cross vaulted ceilings, matching the custom hardwood floors below. That's the master suite. I explain, showing the room that once featured prominently in Vanessa's plans. The balcony was a structural challenge, but worth every penny for that sunrise view. Mom's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. It's completely different. That was the point. I swipe to a different folder, opening a timeline document. Here's the project schedule, created 5 months ago. And here's the property assessment showing the projected value increase 40% above previous valuation. Dad's expression shifts subtly, the businessman in him recognizing solid investment strategy despite himself. This was never about denying Vanessa, I say, my voice measured as I place the tablet on the table. It was about honoring my own plans. Plans I made long before her convenient housing crisis. Come, I say. I bring up another folder. I also have some older photos you might remember. Or perhaps not, since you were all on that Caribbean cruise at the time. The storm damage photos appear my Lakehouse with water halfway up the first floor, furniture floating, walls already showing signs of mold. $28,000 in emergency repairs. I continue, displaying receipts and contractor invoices. Here are the text messages from that week. The ones where I asked for help and was told everyone was too busy. I first things that I thanks vacation. Mom's face pales. Dad studies his plate with sudden interest. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty, I say into the silence. It's adulthood. Dad's shoulders sag slightly. a gesture so subtle I would have missed it before. For the first time, I see him not as the family patriarch, but as a negotiator who recognizes his position has been outmaneuvered. "I should have helped with those repairs," Mom says quietly. No qualifications, no expectations attached. Perhaps the first genuine apology I've ever heard from her. The front door opens, breaking the moment. Vanessa sweeps in, cheeks flushed with righteous indignation, clearly expecting to find the usual united front against me. Her stride falters when she observes the tableau, our parents' reflective silence, Pastor William's thoughtful expression, my tablet, displaying evidence rather than emotion. "What's happening?" she asks, confusion replacing confidence. "Mom said we were discussing the Lakehouse situation." "We were," I confirm, standing and gathering my things. "I've shared my renovation progress. When it's complete in 6 months, you're all welcome to visit as guests, with advance notice." I extend a formal invitation card from my purse. The housewarming is scheduled for March 12th. I hope you'll all attend. The question hangs unspoken as I walk toward the door. Who will come? And on what terms? I drive away with surprising calm, watching my parents' house recede in the rearview mirror. Ahead, twilight settles over the lake, and I picture my property glowing with construction lights, transformation continuing, regardless of who witnesses its completion. For the first time in my adult life, I feel neither guilt nor obligation, only the quiet certainty that peace doesn't require surrender. Sometimes, it demands a stand. Sunlight dances across the lake, casting diamond reflections on my bedroom ceiling. 6 months have passed since that Sunday dinner ambush, and my Lakehouse transformation is finally complete. I cradle a mug of coffee between my palms, savoring the morning stillness on my balcony. No voices demand my attention. No obligations crowd my thoughts. Just the gentle lapping of water against the dock and birdsong from the old oak tree I refused to remove during construction. Below me, the professional kitchen gleams with copper accents and reclaimed wood countertops. Last weekend, I hosted friends for dinner, serving wine in glasses I selected, not inherited. Laughter echoed through rooms once designated for Vanessa's children. The exercise room occupies what would have been her master suite, my daily reminder that self-care isn't selfish. My phone chimes. A text from Rachel, my contractor-turned-friend. "Still can't believe we pulled this off. Best project ever." I smile, remembering her stunned expression when I first outlined my vision. "You want to gut a perfectly good house?" she'd asked. Now she brings potential clients to see my place with permission. Always permission. The doorbell interrupts my reverie. Through the security camera, I spot my parents standing awkwardly on the porch, Dad shifting his weight between feet, Mom clutching a small plant. Their first visit since the renovation completed. I press the intercom. "Come in," I say, unlocking the door remotely. It's open. They enter tentatively, so different from the Sunday dinner where this all began. Dad's eyes widen at the soaring ceilings, Mom's gaze fixed on the dining table positioned exactly where Vanessa once claimed space would be, perfect for the kids' homework. "Gabrielle, this island..." Dad trails off, at a loss for words for perhaps the first time in his life. "Remarkable." Mom finishes, setting her piece, offering a small jade plant on the side table. Truly remarkable. I serve coffee in handcrafted mugs, watching them catalog changes. Mom lingers by the photo wall images of my hiking trips, architectural projects, and sunset swims. Not a single family portrait among them. "This is who I've become," I say simply, answering the question she doesn't ask. Dad nods, his businessman's eye noting the quality of craftsmanship. "You've created something remarkable here," he admits, echoing Mom without realizing it. The bittersweet recognition hangs between us, growth that required distance. Later, I host an impromptu gathering. Rachel brings champagne. The security company sends a gift basket with a card reading, "For our most respectful client." The auction house owner stops by, proudly sharing photos of the community center furnished with Vanessa's abandoned heirlooms. The foster youth program director cried when we delivered everything, he tells me. Said it was their first matching furniture set ever. My phone buzzes with a text from Vanessa. "I'm sorry about the furniture. Can we talk?" I consider her words, composing my response carefully. "Dinner next month, bring dessert. No discussion about moving in." The boundary maintains both protection and possibility. After everyone leaves, Dad pauses at the door. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's adulthood, he says thoughtfully, quoting my words back to me. His acknowledgement feels like the final renovation completed. Evening settles as I walk alone to my dock. The sunset transforms the sky from gold to purple, colors rippling across the water's surface. My reflection appears solid, unwavering against the changing canvas above. Peace doesn't mean giving up boundaries. It means respecting them. And in this sanctuary completed by my own vision, I've found both.
Sunlight streams through my floor-to-ceiling windows, casting rainbow prisms across my bedroom walls from the crystal decorations the staff meticulously arranged last night. I trace my fingers over the invitation card on my nightstand, the thick cardstock embossed with golden script, promising a week at a beachfront villa worth more money than most people see in a lifetime. My heart flutters. Maybe this time will be different. I slip out of bed, my bare feet sinking into plush carpet. The mansion is quiet except for the soft whir of central air and distant footsteps of the cleaning staff. Balloons and soft pastels bob gently against my ceiling, and wrapped presents gleam on my marble dresser. 16. I'm finally 16. The mirror reflects back someone caught between childhood and adulthood, my dark waves pulled into a messy bun, olive skin glowing in the morning light. I straighten my shoulders, practicing the poised smile expected of a Harrington daughter. But my eyes betray me. Hazel irises unable to hide the desperate hope I've carried since I was little. That one day, just once, I'll matter as much as Savannah. My phone buzzes. A text from Emma wishing me happy birthday with about 50 heart emojis. I smile, warmth blooming in my chest. At least someone remembers without being reminded by the staff's decorations. I make my way downstairs, each step measured and graceful like Mom taught me. The grand foyer stretches before me, all soaring ceilings and gleaming marble. But instead of my parents waiting with birthday wishes, there's only Savannah. My sister leans against a pillar, golden hair perfectly styled even at this hour. Her smirk sends ice down my spine. Morning, birthday girl. Her voice drips honey-sweet venom. Mom and Dad left you something. I freeze halfway down the stairs. Where are they? Oh, they had to run out. Savannah straightens, producing a folded paper from behind her back. But they made sure to leave you a special list. My stomach drops as she holds it out. Not an invitation, not birthday wishes, a chore list. 2 pages, neatly typed. The room spins violently. My vision narrows to pinpricks, blood roaring in my ears. Every detail hits like a physical blow. The tremble in my hands, the metallic taste of betrayal on my tongue, the way my chest constricts until I can barely breathe. The cheerful birthday music playing softly through hidden speakers becomes a mocking soundtrack to my humiliation. What is this? My voice comes out raw, unfamiliar. What does it look like? Savannah rolls her eyes. Someone has to make sure everything's perfect for the party. Mom and Dad trust you to handle it. Just hours ago, I'd been floating on cloud 9. The memory crashes over me, sitting cross-legged on my bed last night, carefully reading every word of the villa invitation. I'd already packed my favorite sundress, the new swimsuit I'd been saving. Mom had smiled, actually smiled, when she handed me the envelope, and Dad had mentioned something about family bonding. I'd been so sure this birthday would be different, so certain they'd finally see me. But the villa, the words stick in my throat. Savannah's smile widens. Oh, honey, did you really think they meant you were invited? That's for the family vacation next week. You know, for people who actually deserve it. My fingers grip the banister so hard my knuckles turn white. Years of being the afterthought, the burden, the imperfect daughter crash through me. But beneath the familiar pain, something else stirs. Something that makes my jaw clench and my spine straighten. I stare at my reflection in the marble floor, barely recognizing myself. The perfect, polite daughter they've tried to mold me into, The girl who accepts scraps with a smile. The sister who steps aside, so Savannah can shine. Number not anymore. My hand crushes the paper into a ball. The sound of crinkling pages echoes through the foyer like a battle cry. I stand at the foot of the grand staircase, its sweeping arc suddenly symbolic of all the choices before me. The safe path, stay quiet, do what I'm told, keep hoping they'll love me. Or the terrifying unknown, fight back, stand up, risk everything. What will I do now? The question pounds in my head like a drumbeat. How do I even begin to fight back against the perfect family facade they've built? I look down at the crumpled paper in my fist. This ends now, and they'll never see it coming. I scan the crumpled chore list for the 100th time, my eyes catching on details I missed before. The tasks aren't random, they're calculated. Each item strategically placed to keep me away from specific areas of the house at certain times. Away from Dad's study during his important calls. Away from the dining room during family dinners. Away from anywhere I might overhear something I shouldn't. My bedroom feels like a crime scene, papers scattered across my usually pristine desk. Old report cards showing straight A's lie next to newspaper clippings of Savannah's charitable work. Family photos where I'm positioned just slightly off-center, a shadow to Savannah's spotlight. The evidence has been here all along, waiting for me to connect the dots. Something cold settles in my stomach as I uncover a letter from last semester. My academic counselor's praise for my exceptional performance despite challenging circumstances sits next to a sticky note in Mom's elegant script. Perfect for damage control if anyone asks questions. I push back from my desk, mind racing. They've been using my academic success as a shield. Look at how well Lily's doing in school. Clearly there's nothing wrong at home. My hands shake as I realize how long this manipulation has been going on. The house is quiet, too quiet. Through my window, I watch Mom's Mercedes glide down the circular driveway, Savannah in the passenger seat. They'll be gone for hours at their usual spa day. Dad's at the office until late. The cleaning staff won't arrive until tomorrow. My heart pounds as I slip into Dad's study. The room reeks of leather and power, all sleek modern furniture and expensive art. His computer sits like a sentinel on the massive desk. I've seen him type his password 100 times, watching from the doorway while pretending to dust the shelves. Another core designed to keep me busy. The screen flickers to life. My fingers fly across the keyboard, muscle memory from years of observation guiding them. I'm in. The first email makes my blood run cold. Villa arrangements. Jonathan, everything's set for Savannah's exclusive weekend. The staff has been instructed to maintain complete privacy. As discussed, we'll ensure all social media posts emphasize the family aspect while keeping Lily occupied with her academic commitments. The usual transfers have been arranged. $20,000 for Savannah's shopping and activities, plus the standard coverage for any impromptu expenses. I dig deeper, hands trembling but determined. Each document reveals another layer of betrayal. Savannah's monthly allowance could fund a semester of college. Meanwhile, my education fund sits untouched, a bargaining chip they hold over my head. A video file catches my eye. I plug in my earbuds, careful not to make a sound. The girls' grades are our best defense. Dad's voice fills my ears, clinical and cold. As long as Lily maintains her academic performance, no one will question our methods. It's a small price to pay for maintaining the family's reputation. Mom's laugh, sharp as breaking glass. And she's so eager to please. Really, it's almost too easy. The recording continues, but I can't breathe. Their voices swirl around me, years of manipulation condensed into cruel sound bites. Every sacrifice I made, Every moment I pushed myself to be perfect. It was all just part of their scheme. Lily! I nearly jump out of my skin. Emma stands in the doorway, concern etched across her face. She must have used her spare key, the one I gave her for emergencies. I got your text, she whispers, closing the door softly behind her. What did you find? I pull out the earbud, my voice barely a whisper. Everything. Come look. Emma settles beside me, her familiar presence anchoring me as we scroll through the evidence of my family's betrayal. Each new document feels like another nail in the coffin of my old life, the life where I still hoped they might love me someday. We need to save this, Emma says, her voice hard with anger. She pulls a USB drive from her backpack. All of it. As we copy the files, a new email notification pops up. The sender's name makes my stomach lurch. Mr. Coleman, the family lawyer. The message is brief but clear. Any disruption to the established arrangement will result in immediate consequences. Your academic future hangs in the balance. Choose wisely. I meet Emma's eyes, seeing my own anger reflected back. They think they can keep controlling me with threats. She squeezes my hand. They don't know who you really are. Not yet. The USB drive blinks as it finishes copying. In my pocket, my phone buzzes with another threatening email. But for the first time, I feel something stronger than fear. They built their perfect family facade on my silence. Time to show them how loud I can be. The mansion's library door creaks as I push it open. Savannah lounges on the leather sofa, phone in hand, perfectly positioned to catch the afternoon light streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Done with your little investigation? Her smirk doesn't quite hide the tension in her shoulders. Daddy's study is off limits, you know that. Drop the act. My voice comes out stronger than I expect. I found the emails, the recordings, everything. And? She examines her manicured nails. What exactly do you think you can do about it? Mr. Richards has handled far worse scandals than a jealous little sister. The name hits like a slap. Mr. Richards, Dad's mentor, the family's image consultant, the man who's been engineering my isolation for years. I never wanted to hurt you, Lily. Savannah's voice drips false sympathy. But you have to understand, there's a natural order to things. Some people are meant to shine. Others. She waves her hand dismissively. Well, you've always been good at staying in your lane. My phone buzzes again. A text from Mr. Hernandez, my AP literature teacher. Want to discuss your last essay. Important opportunity. My classroom, 7:30 tomorrow. A moment later, another message. This one from Aunt Caroline, Mom's estranged sister. Heard about the birthday celebration. We need to talk. I've been there. I look back at Savannah, still lounging like a cat in her sunbeam. She has no idea how many cracks are forming in her perfect world. You're right about one thing, I say, turning to leave. I am good at staying in my lane, but maybe it's time to change lanes altogether. Her laughter follows me out, but it sounds hollow now, empty, like everything else in this house. Emma waits in my room, the USB drive clutched in her hand like a lifeline. Ready? I nod, pulling up the draft of the email I've prepared. Just a small taste of the evidence, enough to make waves at Dad's next investor meeting. My finger hovers over the send button. They'll try to stop you, Emma warns. Let them try. I hit send. This is just the beginning. Did you see what that Harrington girl posted? The whispers follow me through the mansion's marble corridors, each one a tiny needle under my skin. So ungrateful. After everything her parents have done, I keep my head high, clutching my phone where another carefully crafted social media post from Savannah glows on the screen. This one shows her lounging by our infinity pool, caption gushing about family love and gratitude. The comment section overflows with sympathy for her poor Savannah, dealing with such a difficult sister. Mr. Richards, Dad's closest business partner, watches me from across the foyer, His eyes hold the same patronizing concern I've seen directed at unstable investors right before Dad cuts them loose. When he pulls out his phone, I know another piece of the smear campaign is about to drop. I retreat to my sanctuary in the East Wing, my fingers trembling as I unlock the door. This room, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlantic, is the one place they haven't tainted. Yet, the leather-bound journal on my desk calls to me. I've filled half its pages since my birthday disaster 3 weeks ago, each entry a brick in the foundation of my rebellion. Today's page starts like the others. Dear future self. But something feels different. The words flow faster, sharper. They think isolation will break me. They don't understand that being alone is exactly what I needed. Every fake smile, every condescending pat on the head, it was all preparation. Training for this moment. I close the journal and pull up the meditation app Emma recommended. As my breathing steadies, I study my reflection in the window. Mom's constant criticism echoes. Stand straighter, smile wider, be more like your sister. But now I see what she couldn't. Strength in my olive skin, fire in my hazel eyes, power in the set of my jaw. The grandfather clock strikes 3. Time for the confrontation I've been planning all week. Savannah lounges in the library's leather armchair like it's a throne, scrolling through her phone with practiced disinterest. The late afternoon sun streams through stained glass, casting colored shadows across leather-bound first editions and priceless artifacts. Our family's carefully curated sophistication on display. We need to talk. My voice doesn't waver. She glances up, lips curving into that familiar smirk. About your little tantrum on Instagram? God, you're so embarrassing. About 16 years of lies. I plant myself in front of her, blocking her escape route. About how you and Mom and Dad systematically destroyed every chance I had at. Destroyed? She laughs, but there's an edge to it. We gave you everything. Private schools, dance lessons, that ridiculous art camp. Scraps. The word explodes from me. Everything you didn't want. Every opportunity that wasn't good enough for precious Savannah first. She stands, using those 2 inches of height difference like a weapon. You're delusional. This is exactly why they didn't invite you to the villa. You're unstable. Really? I pull out my phone, fingers steady now. Is that what the country club board would think when they see the real numbers? How much Dad spends on your hobbies versus my education? The blood drains from her face. You're bluffing. Try me. The silence stretches between us, heavy with years of unspoken truth. When she finally speaks, her voice has lost its honey-sweet venom. You'll never win this. No one will believe you over us. I meet Emma at Cafe Luna, our usual spot 3 blocks from the mansion. The afternoon crowd provides perfect cover. No one from the country club would be caught dead in a place with mismatched mugs and local art on the walls. I brought backup, Emma says, nodding toward a corner booth. Mr. Hernandez, my AP literature teacher, sits with his worn leather briefcase. Next to him, Aunt Caroline's familiar silver hair catches the sunlight. My throat tightens. You all came. Of course we did. Emma squeezes my hand. We've got the documentation you asked for. Mr. H pulled your attendance records. And the emails about family emergencies during exam weeks? He adds quietly. Aunt Caroline slides a manila envelope across the table. Bank statements. Your father's not as careful with his passwords as he thinks. The garden lights flicker on as sunset approaches, casting a warm glow over the carefully arranged chairs. I adjust the projector screen one last time, heart pounding as cars pull up to the mansion's side entrance. Board members, business partners, people whose opinions matter to Jonathan Harrington. Quite the setup, Mr. Richard says, pausing at the garden's entrance. His smile doesn't reach his eyes, though I'm not sure what could be so important it requires all of us here on such short notice. I mirror his fake smile. You'll see. The presentation is brutal in its simplicity. Bank statements, email threads, a timeline of coincidences that shows a clear pattern of sabotage. With each slide, the whispers grow louder. By the time I show the comparison of educational investments, hundreds of thousands for Savannah's prestigious programs versus the bare minimum for mine, even Mr. Richards has lost his condescending smile. Later, I walk along Miami Beach, letting the waves wash away the day's tension. Each step feels lighter, freer. The ocean breeze carries away 16 years of doubt and shame, replacing them with something stronger, certainty. My phone buzzes with messages from Emma and Aunt Caroline, time for our late-night strategy session. But as I turn to leave, something stops me. A moment of perfect clarity, standing between sea and sky. They thought they could break me. Instead, they taught me how to fight back. The study is dark when I return, perfect for what comes next. Emma's voice comes through my earbuds, steady and sure as we review the plan. Aunt Caroline's encrypted messages light up my screen with tactical suggestions. Tomorrow's surprise party will be anything but celebratory, at least for them. I reach for Dad's desk drawer, searching for his spare laptop charger, when my fingers brush something unexpected. A USB drive unmarked and dusty. Probably forgotten. My laptop whirs to life, the USB's contents loading slowly. A video file, then another, and another. My hand flies to my mouth as the first recording plays. Dad's voice, clinical and cold. Of course we can't let her take the scholarship. It would overshadow Savannah's achievements. No. We'll handle Lily's academic future our way. Mom's laugh, sharp as broken glass. She'll understand someday. It's all for the family's best interest. I sit in the dark, letting their words wash over me, each confession more damning than the last. My hands don't shake as I copy the files. They never thought I'd find this. They never thought I'd fight back. That was their biggest mistake of all. My living room transforms into a war room before my eyes. 3 monitors glow in the dimness, their screens reflecting off the polished marble floors of our Miami Beach mansion. Evidence binders line the oak shelves where Mom's precious Fabergé collection once perched. The irony doesn't escape me, her symbols of wealth now replaced by proof of their corruption. Emma hunches over one of the laptops, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she sets up the encrypted live stream. All systems are ready, she murmurs, pushing her glasses up. You sure about this, Lily? I trace my finger along the timeline sketched on our whiteboard, each beat of my plan marked in precise detail. Maps of the mansion grounds and printed emails cover the walls like wallpaper, a tapestry of betrayal waiting to be exposed. I've never been more sure of anything. The surprise celebration event I've orchestrated is already in full swing downstairs. Crystal glasses clink and fake laughter echoes through the halls. Every detail has been meticulously planned, from the strategic placement of evidence displays to the careful guest list of Dad's most influential business contacts. My phone vibrates. Another text from Dad's business partner asking if I'll reconsider my rash actions. I delete it without reading further. They still think I'm the same quiet girl they could push around. Their mistake. The security feed shows Savannah preening in front of a mirror in the foyer, rehearsing her speech one last time. Her golden hair catches the light from the chandeliers, perfect as always. But there's a tremor in her hands as she smooths her designer dress. Live streams picking up viewers, Emma says, eyes locked on the metrics climbing across her screen. Words getting out. We've got over 5,000 people watching already. I straighten my shoulders, checking my reflection in the darkened window. My dark waves fall loose past my shoulders, no more innocent ponytail. Dark eyeliner rings my hazel eyes like war paint. The girl who used to shrink from confrontation is gone. The celebration space I've designed is a masterpiece of irony, Elegant decorations blend seamlessly with carefully placed evidence displays. Printed emails peek out from between flower arrangements. Financial records nestle behind crystal champagne flutes. Every corner tells a story of deception. The guests arrive in waves of silken diamonds, Miami's elite gathering for what they think is just another charity event. If they only knew. Every influential business figure Dad's ever courted, every socialite Mom's ever tried to impress, they're all here to witness the facade crack. I spot Mr. Richards, Dad's closest ally, glad-handing near the champagne fountain. His booming laugh carries up the stairs, but I catch the way his eyes dart around the room. He knows something's coming. They all do. The screens behind the makeshift podium glow to life as the techs run their final checks. In less than an hour, those same screens will display every damning email, every secret recording that proves what this family really is. My heart pounds against my ribs, but my hands are steady as I pull up the first file. 5 minutes until Savannah's speech, Emma warns, then adds, "Social media's blowing up. The hashtag is trending." I nod, sliding the final USB drive into place. Time to give my dear sister the spotlight she's always craved. The marble staircase stretches before me like a runway. Each step down feels like crossing a threshold, from victim to victor, from pawn to player. The whispers fade as I emerge into the foyer, heads turning to track my entrance. Savannah's perfectly practiced smile falters when she sees me. For a fraction of a second, uncertainty flickers in her eyes. Good. Let her wonder. Let her worry. She takes the podium like she's accepting an Oscar, all graceful movements and false modesty. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she begins, her voice dripping honey. "Our family has always believed in excellence, in pushing ourselves to achieve more." I position myself by the control panel, watching the seconds tick down. Emma's voice comes through my earpiece. "Ready when you are." Savannah's reaching her crescendo, arms spread wide as she proclaims, "Everything we do is out of love." My finger hovers over the button. A lifetime of swallowed tears and silent rage crystallizes into this single moment of crystal clear purpose. "Now," I whisper. The screens behind her explode with color. Emails, bank statements, voice recordings. Her voice dies mid-sentence as the first video clip plays, her own words condemning her. "Of course we never meant to include her. She's just not family material." The crowd's murmurs turn to gasps. Champagne glasses freeze halfway to lips. Mr. Richards' face goes ashen as his own emails flash across the screen. Then Marcus Chen stands up, CEO of Miami's largest tech company and Dad's most important business connection. His voice cuts through the chaos. "Is this true, Savannah? These recordings of your father discussing academic fraud?" Savannah's mouth opens and closes, but no sound comes out. The perfect princess, finally speechless. "I've seen enough." Marcus's words crack like a whip. "My company cannot be associated with this kind of behavior. Consider our contracts terminated." It's like watching dominoes fall. Other business leaders stand, phones already out, distancing themselves from the scandal. Savannah's supporters huddle in corners, whispering frantically. The carefully maintained facade of power crumbles brick by brick. Savannah spins toward me, her mask finally cracking. For the first time in my life, I see real fear in my sister's eyes. I hold her gaze as her carefully constructed world continues to collapse. "Happy birthday to me," I mouth silently. The chaos is beautiful. My phone buzzes again, but this time it's not a threat. The anonymous message makes my breath catch. "There's more. So much more. Check your secure email. This goes deeper than even you know." I smile as the screens continue their relentless display of truth. They never saw me coming. And I'm just getting started. The laptop screen flickers in my darkened bedroom, casting harsh shadows across my face as I stare down my family. Savannah's perfect golden waves frame her face like a crown, while Mom and Dad flank her in the Miami Beach office's pristine conference room. The contrast between their polished appearance and my quiet strength makes my fingers curl against my desk. "Lily, darling." Mom's voice drips artificial sweetness through the video call. "We're only thinking of your best interests. You know that, don't you?" I trace the edge of the USB drive in my pocket, the one containing every shred of evidence I've gathered. Its weight grounds me as Dad's icy tone cuts through the speakers. "The social obligations of our position require certain sacrifices," he says, shuffling papers with manufactured casualness. "Your sister understands this. Why can't you?" The words that once would have shattered me now bounce off like rain on glass. In the background, Mr. Richards hovers like a well-dressed vulture, nodding along with every manipulative statement. I study their faces, memorizing every micro-expression of desperation poorly masked as concern. My phone buzzes another message from Mr. Coleman, the family lawyer. The screen lights up with thinly veiled threats about my college fund, about legal action that could drain every penny I have. On my laptop, social media notifications pop up in a steady stream. Influencers in my father's pocket are already spinning their narrative, painting me as an ungrateful daughter, a troubled teen seeking attention. I close my eyes, letting their words wash over me. When I open them again, my voice comes out steady, clear as a bell. "Are you finished?" The question lands like a slap. Savannah's perfectly maintained smile cracks just slightly at the edges. "Because I am," I continue, each word deliberate as a chess move. "I'm finished with the manipulation, the lies, all of it." I pull up the convention center's webpage on my second monitor, confirming tomorrow's setup. The venue's modern architecture and state-of-the-art audiovisual system will serve my purposes perfectly. Every major media outlet in Miami has confirmed their attendance. My fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to unleash years of meticulously gathered evidence. "You have no idea what you're doing," Savannah snaps, her composure finally slipping. "You'll destroy everything we've built." A small smile tugs at my lips. "No, I know exactly what I'm doing. For the first time in my life, I'm seeing everything clearly." The convention center's main hall stretches before me the next morning, its soaring glass ceiling letting in streams of Miami sunlight. Rows of chairs fill with journalists, business leaders, and activist groups. The energy in the room crackles like lightning before a storm. I adjust my dark blazer armor for the battle ahead and step onto the stage. The massive screen behind me illuminates with the first piece of evidence, a time-stamped email thread revealing the systematic financial exploitation, each word highlighted in damning clarity. "For years," I begin, my voice carrying through the perfect acoustics, "I believed I was the problem. That if I just tried harder, achieved more, became perfect maybe, then I'd be worthy of my family's love." The evidence unfolds like a masterpiece. Recorded conversations, bank statements, meticulously documented patterns of manipulation. Each piece is authenticated, each revelation more damning than the last. The live stream counter ticks up exponentially as viewers pour in from across the country. My hands don't shake as I pull up document after document. The timestamps flash across the screen, every manipulation, every lie, every moment they chose Savannah over me caught in pristine digital clarity. The audience's gasps punctuate each revelation like a Greek chorus of justice. Alexander Thompson rises from his front row seat, his silver hair catching the spotlight. As a business leader in this community, his voice booms through the hall. "I am appalled by this breach of trust. The Harringtons have exploited not just their daughter, but the very principles of family and integrity we hold dear." Dr. Cynthia Morales steps forward next, her legal credentials displayed prominently on the screen. What we're seeing here isn't just emotional manipulation, it's a calculated pattern of financial exploitation and educational fund mismanagement. Social media explodes. Number Justice for Lily trends nationwide as clips from my presentation go viral. The live chat floods with support messages and similar stories. Emma stands in the wings, tears streaming down her face as she captures everything on her phone. The final confrontation unfolds on live television 3 days later. The studio lights burn hot against my skin as I face my family one last time. Savannah's perfect mask has cracked completely, showing the scared girl beneath all that polished veneer. Mom's hands tremble around her designer handbag. Dad can't quite meet my eyes. You want to know the real reason I'm doing this? My voice carries through the hushed studio. Not for revenge, not even for justice. I'm doing this so that every other 16-year-old girl trapped in a gilded cage knows she has the power to break free. Later that night, in the quiet safety of my new room at the Parkers' house, my phone lights up with an encrypted message. The sender is anonymous, but the content makes my heart race. Harrington Family Foundation meeting the 15th of June. Full audio recording available. There's more to this story than anyone knows. Are you ready to hear it? I stare at the message for a long moment, my finger hovering over the screen. Sometimes I realize freedom isn't just about breaking chains, it's about choosing which battles are worth fighting next. Morning light streams through gauzy curtains, casting gentle shadows across photographs that line the walls of my new home. Not the cold marble and gilt frames of the Harrington mansion, but real moments captured in time. Emma and I at the beach, the Parkers' Sunday dinner, my first speaking engagement at the youth center. Each image tells a story of healing, of choosing something better than the perfection my parents demanded. I trace my fingers along the windowsill, feeling the warmth of sunlight on my skin. The Parkers' modest Miami suburb feels more like home than 16 years in that mansion ever did. Here, the walls don't echo with manipulation and mockery. Here, I can breathe. The memory hits without warning. That birthday morning standing frozen at the bottom of that grand staircase, Savannah's smirk as she handed me that list. My hands start to tremble, but I force myself to stay present, using the grounding techniques my therapist taught me. The hardwood floor solid beneath my feet. The scent of vanilla from Mrs. Parker's morning baking. The distant sound of lawnmowers and children playing. I am not that girl anymore. Moving to my desk by the window, I open my journal, not the leather-bound diary my mother insisted on, but a simple spiral notebook filled with messy thoughts and honest fears. The morning pages have become my ritual, a daily reminder that my voice matters. Emma's text buzzes through. Community center's packed! Get here soon! At the center, the energy hits me as soon as I push through the double doors. Dozens of teens and young adults mill around the meeting space, which has been transformed with bright banners and fairy lights. Breaking Free Together spans the back wall in bold letters. Jordan spots me from across the room and rushes over, her eyes bright with nervous excitement. I can't believe how many people came, she whispers, clutching her note cards. What if I mess up my speech? I squeeze her hand. Just tell your truth. That's all any of us can do. The room quiets as Emma takes the microphone. Welcome to our first Breaking Free celebration, she announces. Today, we're honoring every person here who's had the courage to choose themselves. One by one, people step up to share their stories. A boy who escaped his father's emotional abuse. A girl who stood up to her controlling grandparents. With each story, heads nod in recognition. Tears flow. Healing happens in real time. When Jordan takes the stage, her voice shakes at first, but grows stronger with each word. I watch from the back, remembering how lost she looked that first day she came to group. Now she stands tall, owning her story, helping others own theirs. Back home that evening, I stand before my full-length mirror, really seeing myself, the confident set of my shoulders, the clear, steady gaze. No more desperate need for approval in my eyes. You did it, I whisper to my reflection. You chose yourself. You broke free. And now you're helping others do the same. Moving to my desk, I adjust my camera and hit record. The red light blinks, waiting. Hey everyone. I begin, my voice warm and steady. Today at our Breaking Free celebration, I witnessed something incredible. I saw strength. I saw courage. I saw healing. I lean closer to the camera, thinking of everyone out there still trapped in silence. Your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. If you're watching this and wondering if you can break free too, yes, you can. Share your story in the comments below. Let's build this community together. Ending the recording, I turn to my vision board. Among the news clippings and research papers, new dreams take shape. Expanding the youth program, starting a scholarship fund, building a network of safe houses. The evening sun paints my room in shades of possibility. Through my window, I hear the Parker family setting up for dinner. Real laughter, real love, real family. My chosen family. Not the perfect daughter, not the family disappointment, just Lily. Finally, powerfully, unequivocally me.